So standard strategy, if you are ahead in material, is to exchange everything, all the pieces, keep the pawns, and then try to win in the end game, right? But the concept of force domination means in the middle game, okay, before you can exchange off, there are situations in which sometimes the game is decided because one side has got a particular preponderance, maximum force it has in one area of the chessboard, and the opponent does not have enough counter to it. And if that happens, and mostly, I mean, okay, this can happen on the king side or the queen side, depending on where the kings are. But okay, if there is a disturbance that is there, I'm going to mute all. I don't know if there is any sound it is picking up from somewhere, but I have muted all. So hopefully that is better now. Sai Pranam. Can you hear me? Okay, better. Okay, all right, fine. So yeah. So in a particular area of the chessboard also, it is important that your pieces are able to reach there. Otherwise, one side may attack in one area, and where because locally you are not equal, and then that might decide the game. That is what we are going to look at in today's lecture. Okay, so it is force domination in one area of the chessboard. Okay, so there are many examples which are there in the handout, but instead of reading the handout, I have created a study for this so that we can demonstrate this for the same positions. Okay, so let us look at the position number 1. Yeah, just observe it first, and I don't want to see the moves, but just don't look at the moves or whatever. Uh, just look at it and see for a minute. Can you see it is black's king side? Not that he doesn't have any pieces, but the pieces are not at a standard position. The knight on f6 has been kicked away by the white pawn. So knight on f6 is a very key defensive piece. So now it has gone to e8. It does control g7, but it doesn't control h7, which it would have otherwise controlled. Plus the presence of the knight would have also prevented h5 square from being available to white. Okay, the rook is.
I know the answer to this one.
Sorry?
I know the answer to this. I know the answer to this.
Okay. So let us see this. So the anyway, I think the answer is also visible here. So let us see. But the important, yeah, I mean, this is not so much. Correct. That is what we'll see. But it's not so much as a puzzle, but we will want to understand it, why it is possible. Okay. So let us see what happens is in this position. If you see, white's rook is able to dominate the f file, open f file. White's bishop is there pointing at h7. White's queen is ready to come to h5, and there is no knight there. Hence, the queen can jump to h5. Plus, the pawn is there, which itself can move to g6 and cause. So there are a lot of whites attacking pieces. Plus, this bishop is there, which can also come in handy. The bishop on c1 is also actually pointed towards the black king side, and there is nothing in between, right? So lot of white pieces, if you count, bishop, rook, queen, pawn, plus the other bishop, all of these are ready to pounce on the black king, while black has got a knight which is only half of the defensive work it is doing on e8. There is a bishop, it is doing some work, and then there is a queen, but the rook is also missing. So what happens is, in this, white is able to take this to a White is able to get into a very beautiful tactic and finish off. So bishop takes h7 check.
Okay. So then when king takes the bishop on h7, yes, white does a check with the queen on h5.
Correct, white does. And now king goes to g8, obviously, right? Now
queen to f7. Queen f to f7.
Queen f7 would be a blunder.
7 pawn.
Queen f7
rook f7.
Blunder.
Rook f7.
Where's the net pawn to g?
Yeah. So queen f7.
Then pawn in the front.
To g6.
Pawn to g6. And now the white king is going to get checkmated. Right?
Black is now forced to capture the white's pawn with his queen.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to avoid checkmate, then you take the pawn, and then anyway the game is lost, right? Because you have got a one queen extra. So obviously you are going to very easily win it. But if you don't do it, then also you are getting checkmated. So the game is decided pretty much. So after this, there is very simple to win. So assuming you don't want to give checkmate, you take this thing. But now what? White should be very easily winning this, right? Just count it and see. Black has got two rooks, one rook, one bishop, one knight, right? Other knight. So, and white has got a, black king is pretty much exposed. It can come under heavy attack and it will going to get mated. So this is, no, black is not activated. Okay, so somebody was asking, oh, should I take the rook? Okay, you don't take the rook, but then also the pawn is coming to g6, and then also it is a checkmate is going to happen. So it is immaterial whether there is no, there is no tournament today because you had it on Wednesday and Saturday, and now I think it is today. It is better to focus on the class. So don't worry about the tournament. Again, two tournaments a week are enough actually. Okay. So what I was saying is, that, so even if you don't take the rook, then also pawn is coming to g6, and then also it is going to become a checkmate. Okay. So all of this was possible because look at, see, I am not asking this as a puzzle to you, more as you have to understand when this becomes possible. So you have to understand that, see, the knight on f6 is a very key defensive piece, I was saying. So if you are able to kick it off, then that becomes, some things become possible. So be sure, both when you are attacking and when you are defending, what happens when and how to take benefit of it, etc. Right? It's not a direct benefit, but using these examples, we will be able to come to know. Okay, the next example is called a Greek gift because it is also based on that bishop to h7 sacrifice, but followed by knight to g5. This is a standard sacrifice which happens in many positions. Why it is called as Greek gift? Anybody wants to take a guess? Why it is called as Greek gift? Anyone? No?
So because you sacrifice a piece, you're
but it is okay. So it is, why it is called as Greek gift is, yes, it is a sacrifice, and it was propounded by Greco. Okay, so Greco also discovered it among many things. So this kind of a sacrifice, and Greco actually means, the meaning of that name is the Greek. Okay, so in Italian, when you spell it, it comes out as Greco, but it is Greek. So that guy, remember Greco from the 16th century or 17th century. So he again discovered this, and he used to play this and won many games. And so bishop to h7. So let us look at it again. What is the condition here? The knight on f6 is missing. See, this becomes a recurring thing. The pawn has gone from e4 to e5, kicked away the knight to d7, and black is castled on the king side. Look at how many pieces of white are ready to attack. Bishop is directed at h7. Knight is ready to jump to g5. Queen is ready to come to h5. This bishop is also directed along this line. And the rook is on an open, semi-open file. Rook is on a, not even semi-open, but it is, white rook has got it can come up if required to e3 and then to h3 or f3, right? So this is what is combined. So while black material is perfectly equal, pieces are like, they are almost there, but they are not there on the king side. See, black's bishop is blocked. The knight on c6, obviously it cannot come to the king side. The knight on d7 also cannot come to the king side because of the pawns, right? So there is only rook, and maybe you can say the queen which can come, but that is what black has got. While white has got his rook, two bishops, queen and knight. This is what is forced domination. Okay, locally white is very superior in this part of the chessboard, and white finishes it off. Bishop to h7 check. obviously if you don't take it, then it's a one pawn lost, and that too of the castle, right? So it is, white will be very happy if black does not take the bishop. Even then white is anyway winning, but winning slowly, but it is a sure loss. So black takes it, then knight comes to g5 check. Knight to g5 check. Okay, now there are options. You can go to g8. If you go back to g8, then queen h5, threatening queen h7 checkmate. So you have to make way for the king, right? The only way is to rook to e8, and then you can finish by first take this pawn, queen f7, king h8. Now rook, you bring it up, because rook is coming to h3 and giving a checkmate. There is no way you can prevent it, right? So this is one way to do it. The other way is,
So the queen is can take the knight on g5, and then
you can take
when
the
the rook
knight.
checks,
Yeah, but after this, what
then you
do?
can keep the queen on h6.
Yeah, now threatening queen g7 checkmate. Now,
No, sir, that's the only way to
yeah, so
prolong
you are
the
not.
game.
Yeah, maybe a couple of moves will last longer by doing, but it's a checkmate, right? It's happening. The other way is that white could have finished the other way also. White could have come up and again given a check. King goes to g8, queen h7, king f8, queen h8 check, king only moves, queen g7. This is also checkmate. You are not even using the rook. You are directly finishing with the knight and queen itself, right? So both of these. The other option is that when originally after bishop h7, king takes it, knight to g5, you can decide to bring up the king. Instead of here, you bring it king up. You bring it up, but then queen d3 check. Okay. Now if you go to, now there is really only real defense is only f5. Okay, because if you go to king h5, then it is finished. Queen h7, king g4, and queen h3 checkmate. Right? So you cannot really do this. So the only defense is f5. f5 to
Sir, e cross f5. E cross f5
e cross
in
f5.
pass.
E cross f5, and it's a check to the king.
In
So
person.
king has to take it, but then rook to e6 is also checkmate. See how the white pieces are dominating the king side and finishing. So though black pieces are very close by, but they are not able to do anything. They are just not able to be effective because they are slightly away from it. So that much is enough to finish. All right. So this is a, now this is not a particular position, only one unique position, but this happens in many openings, and black has to be alert. Sometimes it happens against white also, but most of the time white gets this chance against black if black is not defending properly. Okay. So, and this happens, as if you have noticed it, this happens in French defense quite a lot, because black plays e6 and d5 and allows white to play d4 and e5, advanced variation of the French defense. Doesn't mean that that variation is bad. No, it is not that. It is that if you don't know how to play it, then you can fall into this kind of attacks. So beware. Okay. Now let us, I will make it slightly quicker now. We will look at the next example, which is again, now it is from the white side again, and there is no pawn on h7 to take it. Okay. But similar, concept is similar. White's bishop is on a3, the dark squared bishop, but it is cutting the black's, it is like a dagger into black's heart. Okay, look at this bishop. It is unchallenged bishop. a3, b4, c5, d6, e7, f8. The rook cannot come to f8. Rook cannot come to e7. Queen cannot come to e7. Right? So this bishop is, though it is on the queen side, but it is pointed towards the king side. right? So this is another way. You don't other bishop. Yeah.
In this position, white should capture the h7 pawn with the bishop.
There is no h7 pawn.
I mean, so not the pawn, but keep the bishop on h7.
So that is what here. So the thing is that there is no pawn to take it, but still white plays bishop h7. King cannot come to f8. See, the other bishop is there. So king either has to take the bishop or go to g8. Okay. Sorry, not g8, h8. If king goes to g8, then knight g5. Okay. Threatening the f7 pawn and forking the queen and the king. If you take the knight, then queen jumps to h5. Now there is a discovered check and a mate is coming. Bishop is coming to g6 next. Okay. And it is going to become a checkmate. If you don't take it, then how are you going to defend the f7 pawn? Rook cannot come to f8, queen cannot come to e7, right? So this is the dilemma. So king really cannot go to h8. So king has to take it, the bishop. Knight jumps up. Again, another sacrifice. Okay. So king goes to g8. Now if king captures it at this point of time, after capturing the bishop, now he captures the knight also. Then again queen h5, king g8, queen f7, king h8, queen h5, king g8, h crosses g5. Okay, now the pawn on g5 is coming to g6. Remember the first position. G6 is going to again seal the fate of the black king. Now, if black knight tries to prevent it, that is the only defense black has got to cover the g6 square, which the pawn is coming to. Right? If that happens, then white makes a very, again check, king to h8, and very simple, king to f2. Why? Why king to f2?
So, sir,
Rook h1.
Rook h1 is going to finish it off. Right? So this is what happens. So this was the case if black hooks the black takes the
position.
Sorry?
For black in that position, what about rook f8? Like after king f2, rook f8.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Then bishop will take it.
So here, rook f8 doesn't matter. It is a checkmate here.
Oh.
Right? So that's why h to g5 doesn't help. So then what happens is knight to g5 check, king goes back to g8, doesn't take the knight because it is finishing. So if that happens, then still knight takes f7. Now attacking the queen. Queen cannot come to e7 or something. Queen goes to b8. Then knight takes h6. See, now the double piece sacrifice has finished off the castling cover against the king. It is worth it. Queen to g4. Nothing can come in between. There is no blocking possible. Right? King to h8. Now rook to simple. So just 1 second. Hello. Nuclear apartment first time लागू था first और मुखार्जी ये नुक्लियर गाड़ी है ये नुक्लियर गाड़ी है और सांता पाले और रोड़ा भी हाँ ये था कॉल आ Okay. So so this is again going to get finished. Rook to g8, yeah, it is not going to help, but yeah, it will elongate a little bit, but not too much. Rook to g8. नाही तिकडे जाऊन बघ आलाय तो तिकडे बाहेर बघ या मुलाला खेळता आपल्याला हो हो so yeah, rook to g8, but what if you do simple this, right? So that is what is coming. So anyway, you can't prevent it. Okay, fine. Anyway, I have made this study. You can check it and you can see some more variations. You can also update it. So fine, I have to add some more member. Okay, let's look at another example now. Let's look at example number 4. This is a reverse example where black is going to think. Again, now the position is reversed. If you see, white's pieces are stuck on the queen side and black's pieces are directed towards the white king. Bishop is very nicely
Sir,
from... Yeah?
Can you click on the F key so the board gets flipped? So it'll be easier to see.
Okay.
Just F, yeah.
Right.
So it'll just be easier to see.
Yeah, from the black side. Can you see black's pieces are directed towards the white king and white's pieces are not. So again, a domination of black in the king side, and black starts by bishop h7. Again, can you see the same thing reflected now? Black's pawn has come to g4, kicked away the white knight. There is also a pawn on e5. So white knight has been kicked away, and this is one of the key things that happens. Okay, so the knight is away. It's a bad thing that happens. So now bishop h7, sorry, h2, king h2, queen h4 now. Black queen, so queen h4. So king to g1, rook to f6. Why?
So you can keep the rook at h3.
Yeah, rook can come to h6 and then you can checkmate down the h5, right? So black takes this pawn, white takes the pawn. Now black is threatening checkmate here, right? So white has to make way for the king. So he makes it by f4. Okay. Now there are some more complications in this position, but black found a way. Black first took this. Now he's kicking away that bishop. Why this move is important? See, he's threatening the knight. He's asking the knight to go away. If the knight goes away, then the pawn will come to g3 and then seal the fate of the king. Right? The knight is there to cover the g3 square. That's why the white has brought it. Yeah.
White can make any other move because if g takes e4, then knight takes e4 and you're still covering the square.
But you know what? There is a double attack. If this pawn kills the knight, then the bishop is going to attack the queen also.
Oh.
Right? So it's a problem. So white takes the pawn, has no option other than taking it. Right? So at this point of time, black makes a very cool move. Okay, he's not in a hurry. He just doesn't want any checks, etc. coming in, because the knight would have otherwise jumped with a check, etc. And then there are some complications possible. So black does king h8. Okay, now it is really finished. Now it is like a lot of things are going to happen. So white does try to prevent it by f, but black brings the other knight to f6. Okay, so again, see, the threat is against this knight on e4, which is covering the g3 square. That's the whole idea. Now it is untenable position. So this knight captures it, because if the other knight captures it, then g3 will seal the fate. So now at this point of time, white is ready to sacrifice the queen also, but doesn't help. Even after this, it doesn't help. rook to f4. Still, because there was threat. So rook to f4. Rook to c8. Rook to c8. What is the threat? Ansh, you should be answering this. You have lost one game in one tournament where you did not notice the opponent's rooks coming down. So the threat is rook to c2. Open file is there. Rook to c2. Rook to c2. Rook to c2, and then it is going to threaten g2, right? Because the black queen has got a h2 check, queen h2 check, followed by that it is going to finish off on g2 if the other black rook lands on c2. Now what if white simply cannot contest this, because it is very simple. If you take it, then queen is coming here and picking up this bishop with a check, right? So white cannot even do this. So white tries to block it.
Sir, after queen e1 check,
Where? Where?
Queen e1 check in
Okay,
the
you are
variation
saying
of this move.
You are saying
In the
rook
variation
c1.
of
Here. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't the only legal move rook f1?
Rook f1 is the only legal move, looks like, but even that doesn't help, right?
Then how do you? Then rook trade.
You take
Rook
it,
trade and you win a
I
bishop.
take it, then you move, then I take this bishop. Now what? Your knight is going to go up very soon, right? Queen against knight. No knight.
Sir, I think there's another way of checkmating. No, sorry, nothing.
So white really cannot contest the open file. So white tries to block it by knight to c3, but then white queen comes to g3. Now rook. Now again the other rook is now coming to h2, and then queen on g3, rook on h2. They are going to finish off the g2 square. So white doesn't have much of anything to do here right now. So just finish it. That's it. After this, it's over. Right? So we saw a fourth example. Again, this is based on the same idea. Now, probably I may not be able to cover all the examples, but they are there in the study and they are there in the handout also. But I'm going to look at one more example before I close, which is Lasker versus Bauer. So this was like a young Lasker, Emmanuel Lasker, the third world champion. When he was very young, he was a college student probably, because this was in 1889. Okay, so he became a world champion in 1894, right? Or 1896, 1894, I think. In his 20s, he was still. So, but here, again, can you see this position? Lasker is white, but forget about Lasker is white. What is important is how the pieces are there. So, white's both bishops are pointed to the king side. Knight is there, queen is there, plus rook is also on f1, but it is the pawn has moved to f4, so it allows the rook f3 lift. It is called as a lift. Rook f3, and then it can come to h3, right? Versus black has got only his knight really. Maybe you can say that his bishop is also defending, but that's it. The other queen, the other bishop, etc., they are not in a position. Even the rook on f8 is not really helping the defense because it remains sidelined. So Lasker introduced a double bishop sacrifice. It is named after Lasker. Okay, Lasker's double bishop sacrifice. It happens in many positions, but how it happens? First is to distract the knight. Remember, the knight is an excellent defender at f6. So to really make your attack work, no, bishop f6 directly doesn't help. So first is you do this. Now you ask the knight question, because otherwise I'm going to exchange it, and after that it is going to become a problem. So black takes it, but you can see even if it doesn't take it, there are many options here: h6, d4, etc. What happens? Both of them are explained. I don't have time right now to go through, but you can study it. but knight takes it. That is the only viable option. And then bishop h7 check, king h7, queen h5, king g8. And now, see, up to this, a lot of the old masters also knew about this. But what Lasker introduced here is bishop to g7, second bishop sacrifice. And obviously, king has to take it, right? Otherwise, there is a queen h8 checkmate. So now, queen g4, king h6, and now simple, rook f3. Okay. Rook h3 is coming, mate is unpreventable. Right. So, yeah, you can play e5, you can sacrifice the queen. And sometimes this sacrifice you have to still calculate, because white has also sacrificed a lot of material. So sometimes the balance may be thing. But Lasker, that is what is the masters, right? So master have seen all of this thing. And in this position per se, if you see, black can still make a fight, because black has got two bishops and a rook against a queen, which is more than material equal. However, white has seen one move ahead, queen to d7. Now one of the two bishops is going to get killed. Black can decide which ones to save. So let us say black saves this, but queen to b7, and now the game is over. Now the game is over. So after this, in the end game, Lasker is going to win it very easy. King is also exposed. You may still find difficult to win, but at a master level, this is a clear-cut gone game for. Don't think that oh, I have got a discovered attack, etc. Queen simple, queen takes this thing, pins the bishop. Bishop is not going to do anything. If you start putting your king back, then the rook comes here, and it's going to be, yeah. So it's not. I mean, white is cleaning up all the pawns plus going to squeeze. It's going to finish. Okay, so let me end with one exercise. Okay, let's end it with one exercise. This is the position. Again, can you see? Black's pieces are hovering around the white's king. He has got only one rook as the defender. Can you see a mate here? Can you see a mate? Forced mate.
One move.
Maybe wait, did I put the position wrong? Just let me see.
There's not enough to move the
No, I think it is correct. It's not mate in one move, mate in maybe 3 moves or 4 moves, but it is a mate. Yeah. Bishop to not bishop to g7 anymore. Can you see? Just take a couple of minutes to see. Not bishop to f1, not knight to g3. Knight to g3, rook takes g3. Queen to f1, rook comes to g1. Or knight to g3, h pawn can also take g3.
Bishop to g2.
Yeah, bishop to g2. Bishop to g2 is the move. Forcing, there is only one reply. Rook takes bishop. Now,
Queen f1.
queen f1. Now again, there is only one move. Rook to g1. Now,
Knight to g3.
correct. Knight to g3.
Knight g3.
Now there is only one move.
And then you
Queen
can draw.
pawn takes g3 and then queen
can draw.
h3 mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful, isn't it? 4 sequence. There is nothing, no options. In some other games we saw there were variations. I could do this, I could do that. Here nothing. Nothing to do. Simply follow all the bishop to g7, rook to g7 is forced, queen to f1, rook to g1 forced, knight to g3, h takes g3 forced because the rook is now pinned, and now simply queen to h3. Okay. Cool. All right. So there are some more examples. I think I have covered maybe 5-6 examples. I covered 1, 2, 3. Then I covered Lasker. Then I covered this. Maybe 5 or 6. But there are more examples. Total 9 positions I have covered in the handout. Go through it at least 2 times. Okay. Because there are many variations to see, many things. But try to absorb why it is happening and not so much. Don't focus too much on a specific position. I mean, it is important, of course, to calculate all the variations, but also try to get the general idea of what and why this happens and what to look for or how to attack in such positions. Okay, so that is the whole idea of the force principle. Now, next week we are going to look at time principle, which is again advantage in development, right? Initiative or advantage in development, and then we are going to look at space. So just as there are in world, we see that 3 dimensions, space, and plus there is relativity bringing in time as the 4th dimension. Right? In chess also the 3 main dimensions are force, time, and space. So we are going to cover it. Okay. All right. That is pretty much it. I am going to stop.